Gosh, you flinched.
Podcast, Doug Fields and Friends.
It doesn't end with the rooster crow or anything like that?
No, that's it.
Hey, everybody!
Wasn't it podcast?
Doug Fields and Friends! Doug Fields here with Jana and Matt and Josh, and they've been teasing me about our podcast intro because one of the phrases was Doug Fields and Friends. So, but we decided last week we had we had like a dozen, and Chris narrowed it down to 3, and then we decided on 2, and one was going to be the intro, and one is going to be the outro.
Oh, cool.
So the one that's singing podcast, that's how we're going to end.
That's the outro?
Yeah,
Oh,
because
do that.
When's
somebody.
that coming on in about 10 minutes?
Well, as soon as we're done. But this show is brought to you by our first sponsor, Moosehead Coffee Beans. From
We had that last week and
Matthew
we ignored
McNutt.
What, is it brought to you by Matt's shirt?
No, well, that was the second one. Steve Odell from
That's for-
Seattle.
Is that for the outro? Sorry.
No, Steve Odell from Seattle sent us some very cool shirts. These are probably the best shirts we've ever got.
I agree.
I mean, they
look
don't
great.
fit Matt. A double XL is like a.
If you're only listening to the show, then I feel sorry for you because you're missing out on a treat today.
If
Nah.
I stand up, I'm leaving.
Anyway, it
so.
was his leftover shirts from camp, but he was promoting Life Hurts, God Heals, and it was they're very cool. Jana's, I have to give mine to Jana because she gave the girl shirt to me because it was too large and I've got to wear it, so I don't know what we're going to do. Anyway, David Odell, thank you very much. Brought to you by Moosehead, Matthew McNutt.
Have you ever heard a joke for the first time, and then you heard that joke like twice that same week? Has that ever happened to you? Like when you heard the word poinsettia and then you hear it several times. Have you ever had that?
No.
It's a holiday flower.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, Matt, what's interesting about your soft tone right now is I have
Yes.
two emails.
Well, I
one
just heard a joke that refers to Life Hurts, God Heals, but it's a little inappropriate, so I'm not going to say it. But I heard the same
Wait, are
joke
you
2
expressing
different
discernment
times.
right now?
Well, no.
Oh.
This is definitely the new Matt. Is
Okay.
back
Nor
this week.
exercising
I like
discernment.
it. In tight shirts.
I don't exercise anything.
This is emergent, Matt.
Except for
So
my
Matt
judgment.
Bailey says, love the podcast, but I have not been able to listen to it in my office because of the extreme volume levels, which kind of surprised me because we just spend some money and get a new
Well, we don't have a
recharger
fire
Euro
pod.
rack.
I don't know what
It's
the
out
deal
there.
is.
We have a fire pot out there.
You have 2 people running sound right now.
We have
That's
2
how
people.
complex
Well,
it
listen
is.
what he says. One moment, all you can hear is Doug, which, that doesn't seem wrong with me.
You can't hear his friends.
And then McGill heckles like he does so well, and all of a sudden I have my senior pastor at my office door telling me that I need to keep serious. Is there any way you could possibly get the levels fixed? I can barely hear Josh, Jana, and McGill, so I miss out on all the sarcastic changing wit, with the exception of a few laughs. So, and
Let's be honest, that might be the first time that anybody said they could not hear me.
Yeah.
That's
wow.
true,
In your
'cause
whole life.
Jana is known to be a squawker. But Chris Burke, Campus Life Director from Canada, says, I'm sitting in my brand new office.
Ooh.
Oh, look at
Get
you.
some
First,
headphones.
first day listening to episode 56, because this is 57, right, Andy?
Yeah.
56, so this is last week, at a perfect level, so I can hear, but the rest of the office can't hear it. And all of a sudden, I hear the loudest shriek laugh of Matt. It scares the whole office. I turn the
This
volume
Matt?
down,
Same Matt?
and now I cannot hear it too well, so I bring the volume gradually up so I can hear it again. What happens? The shrieking laugh of Josh.
No.
Which even scares me, it's so loud. You guys keep my hand on the volume, but you do a great job. Keep it up. So here we spent money and got a soundtrack thing, whatever that is, and we've got.
Mixer.
All right. So anyway,
Levelator.
one thing from our buddy John Svensson, who's now a youth pastor. Or actually, he's an intern
He's
at
an
Willow
intern
Creek.
at Willow Creek?
Yeah, he used to be in our youth ministry. He says, I'm having to
Oh.
convert the video podcast from my video iPod. Is there a way for me to download them and not have to convert them every time?
Well, here's a bigger question. Is there a way for you not to whine?
Oh.
That's not the new.
He will love that. He will love
He
that.
would love that.
He grew up in our youth ministry. He'll appreciate that.
Oh, there you
Just
go.
yes
He
or no
was
on
in my
this
small
question.
group.
No, it's fine. You can't. you should be able to load it to your iPod right away without any problem.
Yeah, no problem.
We took
Yeah.
care
Video?
of this, we took care of this like 3 episodes ago.
It might not work on a Willow Creek iPod.
Yeah, I think
Maybe not.
that's trouble with Megachurch iPod.
Just kidding, Jana. There's no such
Here's one from Jason
Just kidding,
Underwood
just kidding,
from
Jenna.
Garner, North Carolina,
Just kidding, Bill.
who says, "P.S. See you guys in Ohio in February."
Oh yeah.
What's in Ohio?
Cincinnati.
The
No, you're not
Buckeyes.
coming. Blah blah blah.
You know Matt will end up there somehow.
You bailed
The
on us
group-
last year at the group
National
Simply Youth
Oh,
Gonna be
the
fun.
conference.
Yeah.
What month is it?
We're not
February.
telling you.
February. That's why I see you guys in Ohio
Well,
in February.
you're probably gonna have a baby
February.
about that time. So.
Hey, gamer tag.
Yes.
Do we,
Xbox.
do we want to
360.
mention this guy's gamer
yeah,
tag?
for everybody on the show to
House
Sure.
of Fern.
House of Fern.
Yeah.
All right. Add
Josh's is what?
the Force Net, and you
The
are.
first net. I'm leaping Potok.
So we'll see you on Xbox
Okay.
360.
That's right.
It'll be fun.
He
Hi,
says,
Potok.
anyway, thanks for all you do to help us read, blah, 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 blah. Josh, how much is my limited edition, hand-numbered, autographed Dave Dorman lithograph of
Wow.
Darth Vader worth?
Wow.
Who's Dave
this is like the
Dorman?
Antique Roadshow for Star Wars all of a sudden.
No,
I would
Well,
say.
no, it's not.
No, it's just one question.
Yeah.
Okay. Rats.
Rats?
Yeah, really.
A second ago he said snap, and I goofed on him for
Yeah.
being
No,
hip
he
with
says
you.
rats a lot though.
Does he say rats?
Because it's from
That's-
Michigan and
That's
the,
what they say in the Midwest.
the
All right.
It's very cool. $100.
car factory.
That's it?
And I will pay you the $100 for it.
$100?
No, it's got to
Because
be
it's worth way more than that. I'm hoping to get a deal.
Yeah.
Oh, is
Several
it-
$100. I don't know. Probably, you'll
Are we
eBay.
interrupting your phone calls?
What do you mean?
No, I
no?
just said
I don't
reject.
know.
Cool.
Aren't you the fourth president?
I should know.
All right.
No, you can't remember all that stuff.
Question. Here we go. This is from Shelton Starks, Rock Hill, South Carolina. I stumbled onto your podcast
Yeah.
Either way.
about a month
No
ago, and I've
stumbling.
enjoyed. I'm a volunteer youth worker. Our youth ministries
Oh, snap.
serves youth ages 4 through 18, and we serve approximately 120 to 150 youth. Our leadership seems to be perpetually frustrated because of lack of funding for our ministry. For example, our annual conference budget was approved at $10,000, but a month and a half before the conference we were told it was more like $2,500. Now there won't be a lot of people
Wow.
feeling sorry for this right here.
I was
You
going
know,
to say, I thought their whole budget was $10,000.
you know, this conference budget.
Ah.
What can ministry do? But here's the questions.
Oh no.
What can ministry
Fundraising?
do to get the church leadership to, one, properly fund the youth department, and two, view the youth department as an important ministry, not just daycare?
Never happened.
Yeah, well, it was funny because Jana and Josh and I were in a meeting today about purpose-driven youth ministry,
Yeah.
and I read this, because I prepped the show right after that. A lot of people think I prep the show days in advance.
Nobody
but-
thinks that.
Oh. But we were in this meeting, and I've been at Soundback 15 years, and I'm fighting for a purpose-driven youth ministry budget, and we have, we got no budget. Whenever we do in purpose-driven youth ministry, we've got to make it
Yeah.
up ourselves. But I wrote just
That's
kind of,
new in the last 2 years, though, isn't it?
What?
There's been a purpose-driven youth ministry budget before?
no, we've pretty much had to make our, if we do a conference or something like
Has
that,
to
it's got to
break
break
even.
even, yeah. And
Did they ask you about the gathering?
no, but
Oh.
I'm going to try to get to an answer to this guy. So.
Sorry, I'm focused.
So how do you raise the visibility, the credibility? the
Well,
money
one of
to
the things,
run these
but he says, how do you get them to view the youth department as more than just daycare? And I wrote here a little deal is you just got to fight. You always have to fight for it, which is a drag. But I think sometimes the youth ministry or minister, whoever he or she is, they just got to see one of their jobs is to cheerlead the youth ministry. And why does so?
Nothing's funny.
This is gonna be one of those moments.
Oh my
Look at-
gosh.
Just put your
Nothing's
hand,
funny.
put
So
your
much-
hand on his tight shirt.
I just was in
Yeah.
my
Sad.
own little world,
Yeah.
trying to keep my mouth shut, and I started laughing.
It started when you said it's a
Reoccurring.
drag. You
Oh.
lost it right then.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, when you said you got to fight, that just was funny.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm predicting it. We will end with show 60. I'm predicting it right
Well, Matt
now.
will.
60 will be our last show.
It will be Doug and Friends.
All right. So.
Doug and other friends.
Yeah. Doug and new friends. So fight for it. I think that's always going to be the way it is, because maybe not always, but there's going to be a lot of people in ministry that don't value youth ministry the way that you do. That, one of the things I typically say is nobody's going to value your ministry or champion your ministry more than you're going to have to do it. I think one of the things you can do is show changed lives. Let people in the decision-making process see that kids' lives are being changed. And not only that, a smart church will recognize that a healthy youth ministry is reaching, let's go political here for a second. A strong youth ministry is reaching parents in the most giving time of their life.
Right.
The biggest givers in the church typically are in that age bracket that has teenagers. So if you are not putting emphasis on a youth ministry, you're missing a great opportunity to really care for a church. Not that is the reason to fund it, because people will tithe to it, but
that is
it is an
reality.
element of
Sure.
it.
But
Yeah.
describe fight for it, because I think you say fight for it and people take that probably the wrong way, because I think there's a right way and a wrong way to bring awareness as far as fighting for it.
Well, I think it's a good question, Jen. I think the friend. I think I think there's a right and wrong. There's sometimes you don't always fight for every misjustice, but I think there's a lot of times when, you know what? We'll skip a year on youth ministry, this one. And there are times you just have to stand up and go, now help me understand the thinking behind this. I just wrote an email yesterday to somebody at our church. I can't even remember right now who was. Help me understand the thinking that went into this decision.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean by fighting for. I don't mean
Right.
just going and yelling
Right.
matches to the elders
Right.
or the senior pastor or something like that. But can you help me understand this? I want to be able to support it. And honestly, in my heart, I don't feel like I can support this decision. Even this person whose conference budget was cut from $10,000 to $2,500. Hey, let me just give you some idea of the pain that put us through. We had people taking vacations ahead of time. They were now they can't go to the conference. Help me understand.
We were going to scholarship this many kids. Now we can't.
Whatever it might be. Yeah.
Well,
So
did you
pick
put
your
your
battles and then articulate your argument.
But I think you always have to stand up for it.
Yeah, don't stop.
There are going to be people who, it's just kids. They don't need to come to that. Or
Right.
it's just kids. They can stand outside. Or it's just kids. They don't need chairs. Or it's just it's that type of
Yep.
thing. That mentality that is pervasive in a church. And I think that's our job, is to say, well, why can't kids do that? And that's what I mean by
Well,
fighting
and
for it.
there's also what you say too, which I was checking to see if it was written down, but I don't have my glasses on. But the perception thing, is that perception is fact for people who don't really know what's going on. I think part of it too is that there's definitely stereotypes about youth ministry, and you don't want to reinforce those stereotypes. I mean, I was in a meeting the other day where somebody had said, youth ministry is just activities, and that's what it's all about. And I just thought that's the exact opposite of what you want to reinforce. I mean, youth ministry is not all about activities. It's about relationships and changing lives and teaching God's word and making a difference. It's not about activities, which is what people think. So you may know that the stereotypes are just stereotypes, but you got to realize that other people are living with those, and you got to fight it.
Everybody has stereotypes of your ministry.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and it's not going to be, one conversation's not going to change somebody. It's that constant. I can remember I came to Saddleback. There was the guy who was in charge of our finances and things like that. We had a student event at our house, and a table broke at our house. And
I probably broke it.
probably. But I went and picked up some stuff to replace some of the food and things like that, which I'd already got approval from, that, hey, we're going to use some of this food. I'll replace it afterwards. And I bought some glue to try to glue this table together. And the guy questioned me on the, $1.99 glue and said, well, why does the church have to pay for that? And I go, well, actually, they really don't have to pay for it, but I figured since it was broken at a youth event, I bought some glue and I was
They
going to
broke
fix
my
it
table.
instead of trying to buy my wife a whole new table. And he gave me such grief over this $1.99 thing, because he had this impression that,
Who did that? I want to talk to him.
okay, you actually have talked to him recently. You told me you had a conversation with him. He's at another church now, but I'll tell you later.
That's funny.
Um,
Oh my goodness. I know who that is.
But I said to, he was saying, well, that's just the cost of doing ministry. And I was trying to help him understand why it was in our house and the philosophy behind,
Right.
you're always fighting. And maybe fighting is not the word, educating. But there are times when you move from education to a little bit, it's time to rumble.
Well, I think you can do a little work ahead of time
Rumble, how's
too.
that?
When you get your budget approved, if you go through it line by line and explain what those dollars are for, rather than just here's a lump sum or here's your conference amount, if you can say, our goal is to take 5 leaders on a big trip and really make this a year of training, and kind of explain why you're asking for money too, because at least some of the ministry contexts I'm aware of, they just give you a dollar amount and that's it. That's what the church gives you. So I think if you do some planning and you put some requests in ahead of time, you can maybe head some of the stuff off before it.
The one thing I didn't like about that email, I mean, obviously there's things I don't like about everything, is that, how do I get them to do the resources that the youth ministry deserves? I mean, that's a tough thing to decide and to discern and to hang your hat on. What is it we deserve? Because it's not your church.
Yeah, I'm not
So-
sure I heard that. Properly fund, how, maybe that you read into that.
Properly
How to
funded.
properly fund the youth
Yeah,
department.
I translated properly into
Sir.
deserves. Yeah,
But that doesn't make you laugh, does it? Doesn't
no,
make
it's
you.
very serious.
Yeah.
That's a couple heart attacks.
All right, here is
Almost as serious as cancer.
no name. This person doesn't want to be named. So let's just say this person is in the South.
Hey,
Love
Southie.
listening to your
Southpaw.
show. I'm slowly making my way through all the archives. Don't waste your time. And I found myself almost wetting my pants from laughing so hard. I've been a volunteer youth leader for 10 years, so it's
All right.
refreshing to hear other people with even sicker senses of humor than mine. Matt.
Yeah.
I do have a question about using online communities, Facebook, MySpace. I've seen a large number of youth leaders, paid and volunteer, from my area, so not just our church, other area youth workers, who have online profiles and seem to have no problem posting pictures and photos of themselves in various states of undress, drunkenness, etc. I've even seen profiles of youth leaders with X-rated videos and links to adult sites on them. The kids in the youth groups are able to see these photos.
What's the question? That's not even a question.
Any advice on how to respond to them? I wasn't done.
Lovingly.
Okay.
That's just
Let me
that's
really quick
ridiculous.
make a clarification. Anything related to XXX and porn and stuff like that on someone's MySpace or Facebook is put there by like a web spider or a crawler. They're not doing that intentionally.
Well, but if they
So-
post video,
It's very rare that anyone would post anything like that. But there are malicious pieces of software that do that automatically.
That's good
So
to know.
Just so you know that I agree with everything up to that last part. That last part is it's in their control. They could delete that, but it's not intentional.
But they have to manage it.
They just need to manage it. If you log in every couple days to MySpace, delete it. Even
Oh.
YouTube gets full
I
of
haven't
Is
been
there
a-
a way for you to block it?
Not really. Not really. You need
Well-
to manage it.
And it's likely.
Brazel,
that
do you have
it's
a
actually-
microphone?
It's actually on that person's computer. It's not even on MySpace.
Right.
And that computer's
Oh.
been compromised.
Right. So the point
Just kidding,
that's a
by the way.
little bit of a clarification.
No, that's
email
good.
before we
That's
jump
good
in.
because she may not know this.
Right. So I'm saying that the youth leader
I didn't know this, and
might
I know
not-
everything.
Probably didn't put that up there. A piece of spyware did. But the rest of it, like drunken pictures and stuff in compromising
Yeah.
pictures, that's
Personal
different.
stuff, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
different.
There's
But
no
the other
virus
stuff-
that makes you get drunk and then takes pictures of it.
Although,
If there
how
is,
great would that virus
man.
be? You want that virus. No, you don't. No, you
No.
don't.
I don't want
It's
that.
not a pretty place.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a so
So,
her,
yeah.
her question is, if you see that, one of the things that she writes on, continues writing about, is that she does a lot of things with other area youth workers.
Yeah.
And she's tried to talk to them.
Right.
And, how do you talk to them about that? And my thing is, I would say, you got to first take care of your own
Right.
MySpace and Facebook issues at your church, and then even with your volunteers that
Right.
you have before you go talking to other, youth ministries about it. Now, does it mean you shouldn't? I think you can enter in dialogue about it, but it's pretty hard to call up another youth pastor and say, "Hey, I don't really have a relationship with you," but
But if you're doing events with them, I mean, they are a
Depends,
reflection
I guess,
of
on
you.
how their network is. Yeah,
Right,
if it's
I mean-
events or other
yeah.
If your
ministry
students,
related stuff rather
right.
than
Yeah.
just like.
And if you have a conversation
Yeah.
with them and they decide not to change something about that,
Shun them.
then you've got to decide. But, as a youth pastor, I mean, let's don't mention this person's name, Matthew. That's why I've kind of been guarding this
Yes.
paper here. But, a few years back when blogging was just kind of taken off and
Yeah, and
we
there was-
read some blogs of
we
some
bet
of
a
our.
bet on that, and I won.
Well, that would be 2 weeks in a row then, because you won last week. But that there was one of our volunteers doing some blogging that we felt was real inappropriate,
Right.
and we had to have a conversation with that. It was one of our high school leaders, and
Yeah,
we had
We
to
talked
remove
about
her
this a
from
couple weeks
ministry.
was it just a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah. And it wasn't. Yeah, I mean, it was inappropriate, but it wasn't.
Right. Extreme.
Yeah, I mean, it was gray.
Yeah,
But
but it
enough
was
to say
worthy of a
something.
conversation.
Oh, it was.
To
It was.
say,
It was
hey,
worthy to say. Hey, take a
kids are
break.
reading this.
Yeah.
Parents are reading this. I realized,
Right.
you maybe need a journal, but I'm not sure you ought to write about
Publish
that.
it to
Yeah.
the world.
Yeah. I mean, I do that, but other people shouldn't.
Yeah. What's your blog?
Blog awesome.
Dot man.
I'm on MSN Spaces.
Yeah.
It's the best blogging tool out there.
All right. Rob Miller said, just wanted to say congrats to Natalie and her husband.
Yay!
Was the
I
most
just
exciting
killed
thing to happen on the podcast
Brady
since the
Wilson.
revolutionary 5-0 show.
Oh yeah.
And was that be 50?
50? Yeah.
Okay, as
Yeah.
opposed to, because remember there was one with Natalie,
Yeah, like.
and I thought, was that 5?
Yeah, like 8, 7, or 8.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Does it really matter?
Well, I didn't
She's
know
had
what he was
some
talking about.
We're trying to
memorable
focus. Aren't we trying to
shows,
focus
and
here?
now There's a baby.
I'm focused.
Now
All
he's
right.
gonna have a baby.
I'm
Shoot.
lazy.
Josh, what happened to
Laser beam.
Survivor Man? John Acree wants to know.
We had a fun little promotion through Simply. Did a Survivor Man video,
Yep.
and Survivor Man lived, and he's fine.
So you didn't
Made it
kill
home.
anybody?
Great question.
Yeah, wasn't
If you
it supposed
haven't-
to be like a series of them?
If you haven't seen it, go to YouTube and type in
No?
Survivor Man Simply Youth Ministry, and you can
Oh,
enjoy
I
it.
thought it said
All
that.
right.
How many are my sports instructional still up on
No, I took
YouTube?
it-
I was
took it
trying to
off.
show somebody one.
No, I took it off.
Oh, you're nice.
We took those off.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
happy
but
to put
not
them on.
right.
You
Not
say the
right.
word.
Not right away though. Don't say it like that.
No, it's
Don't say it like that.
I mean, it was like 6 weeks. We had Matt McGill's.
I don't know what you're talking
no,
about.
No, no,
Matt
no, no.
had legendary sports instructional videos that we put one of them up on YouTube, and it
Yes.
was a 6-week run or
Uh-huh,
10,
uh-huh.
maybe 30.
Matt
weeks.
was embarrassed by it?
and we took it down, so it's down now.
Yeah, I was embarrassed. No, that wasn't the issue. But we don't need to go into that.
Well, we
All right.
were embarrassed. He really wasn't.
Okay. The guy that I couldn't read his deal last week and you did, and you won the bet.
Yeah.
It was really small. Joseph.
Is he back?
Why did that print like that, Josh?
I don't know.
It was something on your printer.
It
Because it
was.
wasn't just this one guy. It was several people there.
I know, I
Their little
apologize.
It probably
salutation.
wasn't the printer. It was the computer.
It's probably the user.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, he says the podcast intro contest. I wasn't entirely sure you guys decided on a winner. My
did
intro
it.
was the second one you played. Podcast.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's good.
It kind of sounded like you guys chose mine as the winner, but I'm not sure.
and you're now the outro, I think.
You're the outro.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
you are
so
the
you
winner.
have.
No, he's the winner.
More
It's
people
just the
listen
outro.
to the end than the beginning.
But he's not the official winner. The grand prize winner is the intro winner.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Really?
You're not gonna,
Yeah.
you're not gonna
What was the
split
grand
it?
prize? What did they win?
Past a National Youth Ministry Conference.
Oh,
Oh.
passed to the National Youth Ministry
We'll
Conference
see you in Ohio.
in
Do
February.
they?
Yeah.
You pay their lodging also?
No, we're just paying for the admission.
Still like
So
$300,
basically-
$400. That's good.
So it costs you guys like 15.
Probably costs us nothing.
Yeah.
I'm guessing
Freebie.
group paid for it. If I know Andy.
Thank you, Andy.
Anyway, Rob King wrote last week. This is the guy that said, you know, Josh, you're nice and thoughtful and diplomatic,
Yeah, thanks, man.
and you're getting progressively more funny. Remember this guy? Anyway, he wrote an interesting question that I thought, we haven't done this in a long time. Let's get people to answer how they would answer this.
Cool.
So
What?
I don't know if this
Homework,
is for
little
you.
homework.
Yeah, well, here's the question. What do you use to measure your ministry effectiveness?
Okay.
It's a great question. It's a great
Okay.
question. And what I was thinking is,
So you're
why don't we
saying-
get a bunch of people to send in how they measure it,
Okay.
and then next week let's
So
read and talk about
One
something.
of the links this week will be answer this question, and just send us an email, and we'll talk about it next show.
Okay, or
Cool.
begin to list them, and then we can, add our 2 cents to that. He also asked another question, the one I wanted to talk about today, is where can I go to find out more about leadership structures? Our ministry has grown beyond me and my ability to pastor kids, and I'm trying to implement structure so we can accommodate growth. And I remember that so many times over the last 25 years. I think every new level of numbers, something that worked for you at one time doesn't seem to work anymore. Your follow-up doesn't work, your greeting doesn't work, your volunteer, you don't have enough volunteers, that each time you got to stop and usually put the mirror on yourself and say, am I limiting, the growth of this? Or what is the current structure too much me-centered? And I think you got to go knock on doors and call people who have been at the place where you're heading.
Well, and it's not just the number of students you have and the events you're doing. It's also the players you have around you. I mean, structure needs to change.
Part of structure, yeah.
It's not just like, oh, when I'm at 20 kids, I need to structure like this, and 50 kids, now that I'm not a youth minister, I could say kids, and 100 kids and whatever. It's not just that. It's who do you have around you and what they can do and whatnot.
Yeah.
A lot of whatnot is involved. A couple of them, actually.
Yeah.
Just structure it like we did, you'll be fine.
Do we have any org charts on?
Yeah, I don't think we do actually. I was just thinking
Well,
of.
to me, it's a
No,
different.
I mean on PDYM community.
No,
that,
yeah.
sometimes we get.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, to get other people to talk about their structure.
about
See,
that. We
to
could
me,
certainly do
that
that.
is, as opposed to reading something or even throwing up an org chart. What I wanted to do all the time. Okay, so tell me how do you follow up on those kids, and how are you reaching their parents? And I love whiteboarding with people and hearing how they break things down and manage their stuff, and
Yeah.
really trying to find.
Well, it's interesting. I was just thinking back to the church context before Saddleback, and the Purpose Room Youth Ministry actually really helped us with that. There were 5 purposes, and so we had a volunteer leader over each of the purposes, and that was our structures. We really took off. I would oversee those 5, and those 5 would each own a purpose, and that really worked for us. I mean,
But was each purpose a program?
There was an associated program,
Yeah.
but like the guy who was great with evangelism, that was his purpose, and everything from that ran through him. So, I mean, that was a growth element, saying I can't do all 5. I believe in all 5, but I can't do them all.
Yeah.
And so we found great volunteers, and that was our first big structural change, was break it out by purpose.
So where did you put the administrator? What purpose was that?
That would be just with me,
Okay.
because I need all the help I can get.
That's good. Which makes me think that we're going to redo pdymcommunity.com.
Right.
And maybe you could listen, those that are listening that care, could go on to pdymcommunity.com and send us some ideas on how that site could benefit you more.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I was actually thinking how neat it would be to have our mentors answer these questions too. And like we bring up a good question on the podcast, and then let's have the people on PDYM community
That's a great idea.
answer them, fill them out, talk
That's a
about
great
what they're
idea.
Our
doing.
new website will have space for that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we check
Yes, it
out.
will.
That's cool.
The new website, Matt. Do we want to tell them about it?
Not yet.
No? Okay.
Maybe wait next week.
Okay.
I don't really. What is youth ministry again?
It's that, right?
Yeah, it's what you're doing.
Okay, I just want you to know from this view, I see Matt's nice, short, weird shirt, and right here he's got on sandals, and it's just like killing me.
It's
right
not-
There are
it's not the
birds
view.
flying over your stomach right now.
Rob King wrote in, as he ended his email, Matt, he wrote, "Under the shadow of his wings, my utmost for his highest, yours because I'm his, burning with passion."
Look at that.
He listed a bunch of them.
I've
Behold the
been wanting
Lamb,
to do that for years.
because of the Lamb, Bama Llama Wow, Black Betty,
That's dumb.
won't you be my neighbor? And he lists a bunch of them, and he says down at the bottom, all of this for Matt.
Thank you.
Until
Does he
the
have friends
trumpet.
or friends forever on there?
What
What about yours because his?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's on the top. Look at that.
We should have an email outro contest.
Oh,
because there it
gosh.
is.
He had a lot of-
Sigs.
So you said I made this up. Look,
What did I say? Make
right
up?
here.
Until the trumpet.
No, I didn't
Bama
say.
Lamb Wow
I didn't say you
back
made that up. I said it was not funny.
Oh,
Oh.
I thought you said you made it up.
Close.
I think you did. You want to bet on that?
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay, let's bet.
Outback, here we come.
All right. You just lost that one.
Did I really?
How
Yeah.
come we never really go to Outback? Is that
No, I
Who's
did
we?
not. I don't remember saying.
Matt and I do all the time.
Yeah, totally.
Jenna, come on.
We're going to Outback tomorrow.
I know.
Yeah, you said I said it's not funny. You said it's not funny, but you said you made that up. That was the bet.
Hey, yeah.
Okay, well let's have a playback afterwards.
We will. Rivertown Church. Chuck, how do you guys follow up with first-time guests? I'm looking for creative ways to engage our first-time students, especially those who didn't come as a friend of the student in our ministry.
Okay, he's looking for creative ways, so nothing that's regular, nothing that's consistent, nothing that works.
No follow-up letters. No
Yeah,
visitation.
only creative, like
No.
neon signs, smellograms, creative ways. Let's go. Woo.
There you go. I
hate
would
creative.
send Chuck. I would send a letter from you. That's what I would do.
With crazy
Form-
fonts, make it
A
creative.
form letter or a
Form
handwritten?
letter?
No,
Handwritten
handwritten,
card?
short, handwritten. I've got a bunch
So
of them in my
notes,
little.
Not so much a
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
what? There was something in USA Today last week that talked about the power of the letter,
Yeah.
because everybody
read
is
it, but
such
it's
an
true.
email society that when you get a letter, it's such a big deal now. And so I think, that is creative in a student's world, you know.
Totally.
And I would say then,
Way
also
better
have.
than a Facebook poke.
That's
That's strong. If
That's
you know
strong.
Facebook, you can
That
poke
is a strong
somebody.
bit.
I know.
Did your daughter tell you about that?
Yep, I was on Facebook last Friday night.
Oh,
Now I haven't touched my
Which-
MySpace
which also
page for
seems
like
like
a
a
year and a
weird thing.
half.
that you should log in.
I
and
should.
clean
You
it out.
should because
I
we've
wanna
already had
delete it.
issues with you.
I'm serious.
Whoa, not me.
No, for example, I posted.
Josh, remember he was
on
Pisces?
YouTube, on YouTube.
No, that was somebody else.
No, it's me.
Oh.
I posted a video promoting the group conference Robot Love. It's pretty funny. Jake and I did it, and it's
I haven't seen it.
and
Gotta be funny if you did it.
So
long.
it's a little
You're
long,
getting
but it's
you're
fun.
getting funnier.
Well, here's what's interesting is the YouTube channel. These web spiders and robots were posting things. I have to manage it every other day. There's something posted on there that's compromising. So I log
And
in.
and that's
and
your
I hit-
responsibility. I mean, I guess it is. That just stinks.
Well, but if you go
That-
to your MySpace page, who knows what's been stuck on there? You should probably log in.
Stuck on you. Yabba-dibba,
Who knows? There could be
yabba-dibba.
pictures
But
of
you,
him
you
drinking.
had that
You gotta
ad
poke in.
space that I had to.
Well, that was
Tell you
for
about.
6 hours.
Well, I know, but I
Yeah.
mean, you've already
An
had
ad.
issues.
Everyone expects there
So
to be
how does this help
ads
with
on
creative
MySpace.
follow-up? We don't know.
Well, follow up.
Crazy fonts. That's what you do when
Chuck,
you write
I
a
think
letter.
you don't want to scare kids. Just a nice letter from you. Just, hey, it was great to meet you.
What
I'm
about
glad
a
you
crazy
came.
straw? One of those straws that goes like this?
Have a kid from your youth ministry call him
Yeah,
for
we
a
had-
second contact, or if you know what school they go to, have them look them up.
Chocolate strawberries.
That's a good way of saying thanks for coming to
That's
church.
right. Nothing says loving like a muffin.
That's right.
Make
So many
muffins.
inside jokes right now, Miguel. You
Um,
are- Should we talk about the chocolate
Speaking of
covered?
inside jokes,
Should we
I
talk
had the
about chocolate
greatest
covered
line.
strawberries right now?
Gosh.
Yeah, we should. So Josh
Matt
and
comes
I,
up to the podcast.
You're gonna tell the
Word.
story.
Matt comes up to the
This
podcast
is so not youth
Look how
related.
embarrassed you are. I love
Yes,
this.
With a
in
box.
position now.
with a box with a ribbon, and it goes, and it's kind of torn open. It's a brand new box, kind of torn open on the side.
It's not torn open. I
And-
deftly
It was
used
Miguel.
my finger to go.
And
"Yeah."
Matt goes,
It's
let's
seconds.
eat this, and Jana squawks louder than
No,
panic.
no,
but it was
no.
the embarrassment squawk.
No.
It doesn't come out very often.
And she said we couldn't eat the chocolate covered
because
strawberries
for her husband,
for her husband Lee, sardidesign.com.
See, it's
Uh,
worth it now. You got the promo in.
And it's their anniversary tomorrow.
Oh, how many years?
Oh my gosh!
And
You're
Matt-
not supposed to.
Seven.
You don't have to get him gifts on the anniversary.
After 5. After 5. it's
Oh.
fine.
Jana, it was a
Nice.
very nice thing. Very
What?
nice
Shouldn't
thing.
he be getting those for you?
And I would have
Yeah.
been wounded if I was you, if these guys would have eaten your chocolate covered strawberries.
And I didn't eat one.
I would have been
I know,
wounded,
which
but
I'm-
full.
I have control.
I'm so surprised at that.
I'm
Scott,
not surprised.
I'm actually surprised he didn't dig in.
Yeah, exactly.
It's called restraint.
It's called guns. This shirt is so lame.
Dude,
Scott
wear it.
Myers.
Wear it all day.
You mentioned in last week's podcast that we should send more emails this week.
I gotta go in 10 minutes.
Well, I wanted to challenge you on this, as you always challenge us. Maybe you should go into the old messages that were good,
Oh,
not yet
golly.
answered, and answer those emails. If I recall, your slogan is simplifying ministry, saving you time. Well, I object. If you wish to save us some time, you should not be asking us to rethink, rewrite, re-anticipate the same question every week just to allow your cold, dark hand to crash down by not mentioning it on the podcast. Perhaps you should create a different slogan for the podcast: mentioning ministry, wasting your time.
iTunes review.
Anyway,
This should be an iTunes review.
Anyway, I enjoy the shows. P.S.
Seriously.
Can I have some free stuff?
He should have written a question.
Well,
all that?
You know what? Here's the deal. I read this
You're
and
the
I thought
one
to
that loses
myself,
Did he write
emails.
Dear Matt on the top
no,
of it?
dear Mr. Fields.
Oh,
Yeah.
brother.
Goodness.
Till
the trumpet.
I was thinking if he only knew how the show was prepped.
Oh my goodness.
'Cause I couldn't
Somebody
even-
thinks Jana's name is Jenna. Sorry.
Focus, buddy. Focus. Focus.
Sorry.
As if you should talk.
Sorry.
So now I forgot what I was going to say.
Dang it! I'm so sorry.
If
That
you only knew how the show was prepped.
Oh yeah, that I don't even know where
Emails
past
come from?
emails. Plus, when they're really long, and a
Here's
lot
the
of people
great
run
thing
them,
is
I
when you
just-
hand them to somebody and you're like, hey, can you organize these for me?
Do you remember the
Which
greatest
I've got
organization
organized a
of
few
all
times.
time?
Wherever they
Yeah.
are, they're really organized.
Yeah.
Super organized. In
They've
under
been
a pile
organized
somewhere.
5 different times.
Scott, here's what I want to say to you.
Free
I'm sorry I didn't read your email. Chances are,
You're
one,
not sorry.
it was no, I really am. One, it wasn't a good question.
Sorry enough to change my
Two,
actions.
we either just answered that question.
Yep.
3, it was way too long.
Yeah, 4, it's just dumb.
Well, not a good question. That was I
Well,
would fall in
dumb
that
is-
category.
It was
Yeah,
probably
okay.
number one.
You just wanted to have something to say, didn't you?
Yeah.
But I do like his PS. Can I have some free stuff? So what I think I'm gonna do, I'm gonna send him this shirt that I'm wearing.
Really?
No.
Why?
Yeah.
Send him,
I would too.
send him
I-
the
Is it
moose
called
head.
Mr. Fields?
No, I don't
Stays
really
on
like
that.
this shirt. I put this shirt on today, and I really don't like the
I
collar.
Don't wash
Yeah.
it before you send it.
I
to
know.
him.
I'll send it
Oh,
today.
completely
Send it today.
field
Plus, the
sweat.
guy sent us some new shirts.
Can
I
you
got a
take your
new-
shirt off right now?
No, I could, but I'm not going to.
That's they're called the
So Scott Myers from Grace Lutheran
You
Church.
just inherited a Levi.
You're gonna
And
get-
it'll-
you're
it'll
gonna get
smell
my-
like coffee.
You're gonna get my Levi shirt. I'm gonna send that to you.
All right.
Okay.
Should we?
Hand that to Josh.
Okay. 'Cause it'll happen that way.
I would take
And
it
I will
anyway,
just
but-
hand it to Jen.
Doug, Josh, Matt, and Jenna.
Can you turn that up? Sorry.
Greetings from a volunteer youth worker. I love the podcast. It's so liberating. You all, especially Matt, say the stuff I've thought in secret for years, which is why it's so great.
Stop being fake. Go ahead.
I
say
had
it.
to write and comment on what you have touched on regarding the typical youth worker and what they look like, as I'm probably one of the least likely candidates. I'm an adult pastor's kid, kind of old for the job, 39, which I think is very young. Anybody in the 30s is just really.
Yeah.
A homeschool mom, yikes, no denim jumper jokes, please. And according to my children, not cool
That's
at all.
in the email. He didn't say
I
that.
know.
Mom
Okay.
jeans.
The students seem to respond to me,
You
and
kept
since
that
they've
look,
lost
sorry.
3 youth pastors in the last couple of years, I'm one of the constant adults in the youth ministry here. Okay, that's why they respond to you, by the way, which is a great thing.
Exactly.
That you
Yeah.
have been constant. An experiment I've been playing with my students is the opposite of what Doug tried to do with Chim. My 17-year-old son informed me that when I use students' language in conversation or in a message, I suck all the cool out of it, and they can no longer use whatever term I've tried to copy. I love
That
that.
sounds exactly like Chan.
It's the best thing to hear the
Yeah.
corporate groans when I've used LOL or Snap.
No way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Josh just used that right before the show.
Did
It
you
helps
add
to know
or
that
is that
LOL
really-
isn't actually something
Oh,
you say.
stink.
Don't know if it will work for you, since I'm sure you're all too chim to suck coolness from slang. No, that's
And if someone's new to the
God.
show, what is Chem?
it. Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It didn't fit. It didn't work. The experiment went down.
So many
Um,
inside jokes.
Here's the question: we all, I need more volunteers, but how do I find volunteers? Again, a volunteer, when I'm always working with students. It's a great question. Because
Yeah, it
in the
is.
church, every time she's there, she's with students, not around adults in the church. How does she find volunteers?
Get some friends.
Get some friends. Okay, that's Matt's answer. Jana?
Parents even? I think some
No,
parents.
I'm totally joking by that.
I think you have to switch gears. You
But
got to
I-
retool here.
That's what I
You-
mean. Yeah, you,
you
take
can't-
1 week off a month of not doing youth ministry, and
You
You
have
gotta
to
get in. plugged
Mingle.
in.
Right, right. You have to
Bingo.
realize that this student ministry is done growing. It's done if you stick with them. And for the health of the youth ministry, you have to take a step back, recruit some help, and then jump back in.
That's
It
what
has to
Anakin Star
happen,
Wars
or it
did.
will always be the same.
Yep. I'd add to that, Kim, that I would encourage the volunteers that you do have for them to be on the lookout. And you expect them to recruit as well, so that if one of them is in the choir and you're not, they can look in the choir. If one of them's in the men's ministry and you're not, they can look in the men's ministry.
she probably
So-
wouldn't be in the men's ministry.
Yeah, expect them to be finding some volunteers for you as well. That
Yeah.
it's not all your responsibility. That's what you do as part of a team. Is you all look out for one another.
Well, you said in the past to have students look for leaders and talk to people and
Yeah, who do the
encourage.
students like?
Yeah. So I think the
Marv.
students could be a good lead too. If
Yeah,
you're
I
hanging
think
with
that's a good
students,
idea.
On the
You know
bus in
who-
Israel.
who they're talking about. Yeah.
Senior pastor can make some announcements from the pulpit.
Yeah.
There you
How's
go.
your focus doing today? Here's
I'm
what I.
here's what I'm thinking. I feel like I'm 7 out of 10 right now.
You're 7 out of 10. No, you're as obnoxious as you were last week.
Oh,
And
as obnoxious?
Yeah, I sent an email. I mean, you all know this because I sent it to you all. I said, hey, time for the show, and we set the time. I said, I think let's try something a little different this week. Let's reel it in a little bit. And I wrote basically reel in Matt a little
Marvelous
bit.
Matt.
And he wrote back and said, okay, if you don't want me to carry the show.
Oh gosh, which I don't truly believe that.
Yes, you do.
So-
Yes,
you're
you
an
do.
Ann
Matt,
friend.
I
You
totally
can't carry
believe
the
it.
show
Matt
as
wrote
Ann
me an
friend.
email the other day. Matt wrote me an email the other day, and he said, I'm in a meeting with my peers. And he puts quotes around peers, and this is at church at Saddleback. He says, I'm not really their peers because I don't make as much as them. And really, is anyone my peer?
Okay, but that was just a joke, though.
Which reveals your heart. Ken Todd from Defuniac.
Nobody's as good at Matt.
I
McGill
love
as
it
I am.
when they do the pronunciation
Oh,
for me.
yeah. Oh, that's a good
Defuniac,
one.
I know. Defuniac Springs, Florida.
Oh, and you
Um,
know even where the emphasis goes. It's on the all caps. Defuniac.
I have a question for you. We are in a small church, and I have about 10 students and a new potential leader. What resources can I put in the hands of new adult volunteers? Andy just
you're
got
getting
so
ready.
excited.
The smile on Andy's
Bible
face.
Mention
Institute.
some resources. Dun, dun, dun. I
maybe
can't
this
believe we don't have
podcast-
some music here.
Small groups
A
from start
very
to finish.
a very cheap resource.
Resource
Andy
notebook.
would be help. I'm a volunteer youth worker.
Yep.
Why don't we send this? Why don't we send that to Ken Todd for free?
Oh,
Okay, help. I'm a volunteer youth worker.
Did you guys ever put together a kit for someone who's starting out youth ministry?
what's that? No.
We have your first 2 years in youth ministry.
Well,
It's
but
more
we
than
were
a
going
kid.
to put
It's a book,
together a
Matt.
kit. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Leaders
More
are
like
learners, which is our audio training, which
One of
would
my
be good
Golden
for new
ideas.
adult leaders.
What matters most?
Mentor me.
I was also thinking of a transition kit.
No.
Yeah. Why don't you blog about that stuff and not talk
Sorry.
about it on the podcast?
That's awesome.
Um,
And there's tons of free resources too. I mean, simplyministry.com/freebies has tons of free stuff. You can check out a lot of the things too, and see what else it might be.
eYouthMinistry.net.
Probably.
Wait, what did you say?
No, what's
I
that
was
one?
saying there's a huge
Who's our
freebie
buddy?
section on Simply that they can take advantage of.
iYouthMinistry.com.
PastorToYouth.com has a bunch of free stuff.
PastorToYouth.com.
Yeah, it's kind of our partners. We dig that stuff.
A similar
Ian,
a similar
Become
type
community
email.
of course,
Steve
yeah.
Sweeney from Indianapolis, Indiana. He says of the new conference brochure in the front, there's a picture of Doug talking with a guy whose back is to the camera. That guy is me.
Yes.
I was just wondering if I get a free bumper sticker for that, or maybe a pencil.
Do you think they photoshopped that picture of you at all, or do you think?
What do you think? I didn't talk to people, or what?
No.
I talked to every person
no,
there.
your face had this certain glow to it, and I was like, wow,
That's, you know what? That's what happens.
That's
when
how
I'm
the
talking
world-
to you.
that's how the world
Glow.
sees
You
Doug.
In the
glow.
new catalog, I think you look like you have a black eye. So
What new catalog? This SYM
SYM
catalog?
catalog.
I don't like that picture. I told Andy that. I don't like many of my pictures, but I really didn't like that. Ask
Yeah.
Andy if he changed it.
Well,
No.
Did we try to reschedule a new photo with you?
Oh, Andy.
10 times.
Andy.
You should just use the old ones.
Yeah.
But the point is, you look a little angelic, even.
When I was talking to the youth
No.
worker.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
honestly, yeah.
I would rather talk to a youth worker.
talk to any of his friends.
Maybe it should be Doug Fields and youth.
No,
worker.
I was just telling you guys. We were at a restaurant, and I said, if there was a booth filled with people from our church, or a booth filled with youth workers, I would rather sit at the booth filled with youth workers. There you go. Steve
does.
Sweet. No, it's just
Good.
that if it was a happy look on my face, it was because I was happy.
It's a great picture, and that's a funny email from this guy.
Steve says, what's the possibility of Simply Youth Ministry churches in our area who don't have much of a budget if one of us could buy stuff and we could pass it on to the other churches? I don't want to rip you guys off, but if it's legal, well, Steve, it's not legal. So here's what I would encourage you to
Andy
do.
did like the idea of Simply Youth Ministry churches.
Yeah.
He's like, wait a minute.
Franchise.
We could start our own church.
Steve, what I would say to you is what
you guys
we've
haven't already done that.
We've said
us a little bit
to
more
everybody at all the conferences is if you know of a church who can't afford resources, instead of pirating our stuff, let them call us and
Let us
We-
have the joy of giving it to you.
What do I say, Matt?
That's it.
Let us have the joy?
I don't think so.
Keep the level of integrity in youth ministry high and
Keep-
give us the blessing.
And then you say,
Give us
snap.
the blessing. That's it. And
Then I say
I link blessing and joy together. Which
Yes,
Ah.
I would
that's
rather
biblical.
you keep your integrity and let us get the blessing of giving something away.
Yeah. You
there you
need to
go.
go to bed with yourself at night.
Yeah, snap.
That's right.
All right.
All right.
Snap.
Joel from Christopher, Illinois says, I want to comment on the issue of young guys in youth ministry.
Don't talk about wanting to. Just do it.
I just turned 24 and have been working full time for over 2 years now in my current church. On your podcast, you mentioned that churches would be better off hiring more experienced youth ministers
That's right.
rather than those who are 21 or 22.
Noob sauce.
You mentioned
That's real. That's a real term. Just so you know. Just keep going.
you mentioned that there was a problem bringing these young guys on, but they probably should not be the main guy. I think this becomes a problem for the guy just coming out of Bible college. Churches that are large enough to bring on multiple youth ministers generally are looking for someone with more experience. A larger church that will hire someone straight out of Bible college are few and far between. This leaves the new young youth minister as one being thrown into ministry as the lead guy. What you said on the podcast, I think, would be great in an ideal world, but in today's world of youth ministry, it just does not seem like would actually happen. And I totally disagree.
I don't even know what he's saying because I think
Because you checked out and were thinking of your next joke.
Because I think that I'm trying to think of a joke always, but go ahead, say because I think I totally disagree too, which I don't really like agreeing with you that much.
Yeah,
He
well.
wants to disagree with you disagreeing.
But the
No,
idea
here's
of
my
disagreeing
my
with you and agreeing
disagreement
with
is
him
if I'm going to
disagreeable
hire,
me.
if I'm a church that has the ability to hire a multiple staff, the opportunity to get somebody young who's not going to cost as much is
Right.
much higher,
Right.
you know, much higher than getting somebody with a lot of experience that's going to carry more of a paycheck.
Well, and if you have multiple staff, you want people at all different places of life, and younger is, you want younger too.
Absolutely,
Right.
especially if you're at a larger church where chances are that person who's the point person
Is older.
is older and is not doing as much relational ministry as he or she used to do. So chances are might hire somebody to learn. So
It's not what you know; it's who you know.
it's been your case, that's for sure.
Right in the
Oh, it's
Are
good.
you guys peers? Is that what that is?
No one's Matt's peer.
Oh, God.
But Joel, I would just say there's maybe a bigger perspective that but you might have talked to 2 or 3 churches, and that been the case for you. But I
or you haven't talked to
disagree.
anybody and you just have an opinion.
Which is fine. He says, in addition, I want to ask you the best way to educate a church that a new youth minister is not an expert and still needs assistance and help along the way. I think too many churches expect too much out of youth ministries just out of Bible college, and this may be the reason why a lot of them get discouraged and leave the ministry. And I totally agree with that. And I
You
would
only agree because you wanted to feel good.
No, I totally agree with that, and that's why the last chapter, I don't know what chapter number it is, but it's the last chapter of your first 2 years in youth ministry, is written for Joel.
It is.
So that he would,
Written for this question, not for Joel.
yeah, written for this question. Thank you for
You're
clarifying.
right. Thank you.
I didn't want Joel to feel too good.
I disagree.
That would be the first time. Yeah.
You're right. All right.
No, but you're totally right. I mean, is that you want to find out the expectations right away. You want to find out all the expectations of the people you're reporting to, or the elder board, or the youth council, or whatever it is at that church, the conclave of whatever. And if all those expectations are too unrealistic, then you let them know and see if they adjust, or don't take that job. Don't step into a
But
situation.
most people
that's-
don't take
you
the
know
time.
what those, and you don't really know what those expectations are without a little bit of experience. I mean, you know what they are.
You don't know how to interpret them or to fight
Right,
them or to
right.
really understand them. You don't have a context for it, but you can at least try and identify them before you go into a situation.
Which is what
That
is in
chapter's all
first 2
about.
years of youth
I think
ministry.
I actually wrote that chapter.
I disagree.
I totally disagree.
I
but
completely.
you may have read it.
I re-agree.
Well, don't you think when people get out of Bible college or seminary too, they kind of have this sigh of like, learning is over, college is over, and so
I am ready to save the youth
and
of
so
the
they
world.
go out into the world, and they probably should take another year and just learn rather than jump in and be the, you know.
Well, like he's saying, in an ideal world, my daughter is in college.
Yes.
But let's say if she's getting out of college and wanted to be a youth pastor, I would encourage her go work with somebody for a while.
Right.
Don't be the main person
do it
for a
on
while,
your
and learn. Let somebody else carry the burden of the mistakes and the weight and the buck stopping there, and learn in that type of setting. And not everybody has that. Has that opportunity
Part of
to do
that, though,
that.
is even the philosophy behind the intern ministry at Saddleback is to say, you're out of school now, come learn with us, and then we'll set you on, and hopefully they'll go on to be a great lead youth worker or go on and so we're
But
trying to
everybody's
make
wired
that
a little different
transition.
too. There are
Right,
some
right.
people that all through college they're just gnawing at the bit. They
Right.
can't wait to go be the lead youth worker. I mean, I've read,
Absolutely.
purpose-driven youth ministry is
That
used
pride
as
can only be fed so many ways.
it's used as a text, and so I get some of my youth ministry professor friends will send me a paper that was written,
Right.
and it's just fun to read 19-year-olds who rip me apart based on all their experience. But they're ready, they're ready to go.
Right.
They want to
They
fight
want it,
and they want to
yeah.
go and they want to, change things, and that's great. That's maybe
Yeah.
how they're wired.
Yep. That's
Well, how old were you when you started youth ministry?
Well, I was
did
I mean,
junior
like
high ministry
full-time
for 2
youth
years.
ministry?
Well, I was-
Then I became a Christian and started high school ministry.
I'm just curious because I was 21, hired full time at a church at 21.
I was
just
doing
graduated
ministry
school,
from
and
the
that
womb.
was super early.
yeah. I was an intern for several years.
I almost wish sometimes that I mean, it just feels like that's a good
Josh, aren't you
Good
still
thing.
an intern?
kind of, yeah. Paid intern.
Yeah.
Internet
from
web,
No one's his peer. Either.
peerless,
Welcome
Yeah.
to my, which makes us peers.
Yeah.
Because no one's our peer.
That's great.
peerless.
All right. Well, I'm a little tired.
I gotta
Of
go. I
being
got a
around
hot.
Matt.
I got a hot date tonight.
Matt has been reeled in this week. Didn't I do a good job of that, Janet?
Brilliant.
You guys, so many less interruptions this time.
I
Why
don't,
do you- why do
I
you
don't
do
think
that?
so.
Oh,
Why are you
brother.
chomping to go? I don't understand.
You
have a-
totally know why. Tonight is World of Warcraft.
Maybe that's what you're doing.
Totally.
Are you
We
Gerbil
got-
Slayer still?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
on the 9th moon of Endor.
No, on the Black Hand server.
There it is.
That's right. It's the second
Okay.
night of Carzon, or
All right.
Carazon, or however you say that.
Well, again, brought to you by Moosehead Coffee Beans
Buy it.
and
Moose Jaw.
And clean up your MySpace, guys.
that's
Can
right.
you
And
delete
I'm
my
gonna,
MySpace for me?
I'm gonna take this shirt and send it to Scott Myers. All right,
Bye.
Janet, you got
Okay.
anything?